Dr. David McKenzie, our guest. He's a couples counselor and a sex therapist, a former chaplain, a prison chaplain.
You
all of the
listed
above.
all my career.
I know. Well, as I should, because you have to have credentials if you're talking about sexual relations.
Right. Well, being a priest,
know.
does that give me credentials?
Yeah, I think, because I think you've seen many sides, and I'm
Yeah.
sure people tell priests things they don't
Yeah.
tell others.
Well, my
They tell
counseling's not
priests things they don't tell their parents.
true. My counseling is very secular. I don't do priestly counseling. But I just wanted to come back to that first study, and what they left out was the fact that if you're saying that a person with many sexual partners, that there's a correlation between that and unhappiness, what they're leaving out is the fact of why they have many partners. For instance, a study was done over 5 years ago of highly promiscuous males, and they found that there was a high correlation between that and clinical depression. So that's a form of self-medication, promiscuity. So what's causing the unhappiness? The many sex partners? Right. I don't think so. What's causing the unhappiness is the depression, which drives that.
I see. So what do you make of huggers? And I say huggers, these are people who say to you, couples,
Yeah.
you know, we used to have a lot of sex, and it's not so much anymore, but I'm just as happy. I'm just as happy just going to bed with him, having him in the bed, hugging me, patting me, patting me on the head.
It's interesting you say
doing
that.
whatever, but
I know
they mean it. I know they mean it. And he's just on the same path as she is.
That's exactly right.
Really?
The real issue becomes not so much the intercourse as much as the affectionate touch, the feeling of being wanted, of being loved.
Somebody touches you physically. It's really important,
touch is
isn't
powerful, absolutely powerful. And in fact, after the Second World War, with children who were dispossessed of parents because of the war, children that were touched lived and were healthy. Children that weren't died of all sorts of diseases.
Right.
And so touch is powerful.
And what about that connection? It's a brain connection. It's an energy connection.
What are you talking about, the physical or the mental connection?
I'm talking about that, just a feeling. You don't even know somebody very well, but you so get them, they get you, you feel safe in their presence.
The Greeks called that eros.
Yeah, the eros.
Not lust.
No.
It's a deep sense of connection.
That is a deep sense of connection, and you can have lots of theories about it. Lived another life together. Maybe I was your mother once. You know, there's.
No, I don't believe any of that.
I doubt that. But, you know,
because
what is that about?
You're actually connecting at a very deep level in terms of your attachment styles. And so individuals who, for instance, have an avoidant attachment style will hook up with others who have an avoidant attachment style.
Which means?
Which means that you'll choose partners who will cheat on you, leave you, abandon you, or if the relationship looks really healthy and there's potential, you'll sabotage the relationship. And so you'll hook up with a person with the same problem. And so there's that deep sense of you're connecting. You're meeting each other at the level of deep childhood wounds.
So you both want it, but you don't know how to get it.
You both crave intimacy, but you end up sabotaging what you want, and you'll find perfectly justifiable reasons for shutting it down. She's not good looking enough, he doesn't have a good enough job, the education, you'll find reasons for it.
So you're mirroring the other person in a sense.
And you marry your emotional equal. You
Great.
hook up with your emotional equal until you take it. You look so discouraged.
That's such happy news.
Until you deal with that inner child. You're funny. You're funny. I always get a kick out of coming here. Until you deal with that inner child and heal that wound.
Right.
Because it's the wounded child that keeps driving our lives.
I understand that at a deep level because you told me that before.
Yes.
So if your father was a philanderer and a wild guy and not very nice to your mother, as a female, would you be attracted to that or repelled by that?
It's a known fact. If you come from a home where daddy has beat up mommy, you'll end up choosing wife beaters as husbands. It's tragic. And it'll take you an average of 5 times to leave the home until you get rid of this guy.
So what causes a person to rebel against that? Say you were in a home where dad had 10 girlfriends and you don't want to be in that kind of relationship.
Well,
right?
Sometimes deep within that person, they say, "I don't want that." They've separated from it, and they'll start their own life. They're going to have to deal with a lot of that pain.
Sure. But the force is powerful.
Of course, and it's a toxic environment. And so, for instance, in an alcoholic family or another form of codependence or dysfunction, the person that takes a stand and says, "No more. I'm naming this. This is sick." The sick family will spew the healthy one out of its mouth and say, "You're sick, there's something wrong with you," and we'll carry on in our dysfunction.
So familiarity.
Familiarity, yeah, but I mean, sickness breeds sickness.
Right, and if your mother left you or your mother died and you were young,
That's tragic.
that kind of thing,
That
that's
sets you up
very tough for a young man.
For a young man or a young woman.
Young woman.
Because it's our relationship with our mother that will determine our later attachment style.
Really?
Yeah, not the father.
Could it be a stepmother? Could it be a female figure?
It is the mother who had the primary care of raising you. And attachment starts in the first week of suckling at your mother's breast. And that's why it's important to treat postpartum depression.
What if you have a mother who simply doesn't know how to nurture you, male or female?
Well,
just
then,
not a nurturing mother, the tough mama.
Well, I mean, you will suffer the consequences of that. You need to have one person in your life that loves you irrationally. I'm crazy about you and I love you. Don't ask me why. I'm just nuts about you. Every person to be healthy and not grow up to be a psychopath needs that.
Yes, absolutely. I totally get it. Everybody doesn't have it, and I'm hoping that somewhere in the broader circle of our family, there's somebody who picks up the pieces, who sees that dad's off the trail, or mom's off the trail, maybe your mother's mentally ill.
Yeah, and that's why most of us end up pretty healthy. Because either a dad or an uncle or somebody, or grandma will come close and will love that child.
Sure, a godfather, a mentor, somebody you can relate to.
Right.
Okay, back to this vitamin sex.
Yeah.
The vitamin S in the paper.
Yeah.
Why does sex make us look younger?
Well, I mean, when a person has an orgasm, adrenaline secreted, dopamine secreted, those are all neurotransmitters that make us invigorated, make us look younger.
Relaxed.
For instance, the semen contains progesterone, which aids, if absorbed vaginally, aids in reducing depression in women.
Really?
Yeah. And so I think in the article you're referring to that women tend to be less depressed if they don't use condoms.
Really?
But what they're saying is don't stop using condoms if you don't want to be pregnant or catch disease. So,
well, most women I know, myself included, when it's all over, you're pretty happy.
Exactly.
Even if it wasn't so good. There's kind of a feeling. It's a great feeling.
Of course it is. Also in terms of health, males who have 5 ejaculations per week from the age of 25 on reduce the incidence of prostate cancer by 50%. So frequent ejaculations are healthy for the male.
Not necessarily with a partner, it could be by yourself.
Absolutely.
It's about the orgasm, really.
It's about ejaculations, it's about orgasm. And orgasms, also females over the age of 50 who are not having regular penetrative sex, either with the dildo or the real thing, can begin, possibly have atrophy of the vagina, but also can develop a condition called vaginismus, a contracting of the introitus muscle, the vaginal opening, so tight you can't get a Q-tip in. Now, don't get scared, ladies, if you hear this, but know that regular penetrative sex is important for you as well.
My eyebrows are going up again.
Oh, dear.
Well, many people are single, as you know.
I know that. And there's nothing wrong with sex with yourself. Betty Dodson wrote a book called Sex for One. Buy it and read it. It's great.
Sex for One.
Sex for One by Betty Dodson.
I'll rush right out. I thank you.
You've made my day.
Always nice to see you.
Thanks,
Always
Fanny.
nice to see you.
Thank
You'll
you.
come back and we'll talk about yet another study.
Sure.
Or something else.
Or something else.
Thank you, Dr. David McKenzie.